You're listening to Shoe In, covering the ins and outs of all things footwear, from sneakers to heels, loafers to slippers, and every type of shoe in between. Brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear. And now your footwear insiders, Matt Priest and Andy Polk.
Happy holidays! Happy holidays! It's not yet Halloween.
It's off, man. We are off and running.
If you thought 2020 was weird, try going to a local Home Depot. I was just looking for a simple lighter for my outdoor grill. And I walked past the Halloween aisle and walked to the end of the store into a forest full of Christmas trees.
Oh my gosh, already?
Already. And why are they doing that? It's, obviously retailers are pushing this a little bit, this holiday extended season to get more sales. But consumers are expecting it a little bit too. I mean, I think, especially my family, my kids are already singing Christmas carols. Like they need something to look forward to. And so with that, typically, Matt, we will send out our holiday survey. We do I'll tee it up first. We do a national shoe shopper holiday survey every single year. It's typically 2 weeks prior to Black Friday. Typically. Right. This is not a typical year. So we launched it in early to mid-October because we saw what was happening, especially with Amazon Prime Day taking place then. We saw Target talking about how they're going to do sales all during November. Mm-hmm. Walmart's talking about doing a phase of 3 different sales strategies. One's in Black Friday traditional, some online, some this. What have you seen? Anything else that's different, Matt? What else are you seeing?
Man, this is crazy. This is crazy time. You're right. It's not a typical year. All you got to do is to not have a typical year is apparently add the A to the front. You get atypical, and that's everything about this year has been atypical, Andy. And my kids are playing Christmas music on their Amazon Alexa, and the Prime Days dropped a big bomb in the middle of the month of October. Right. It has forced everyone to alter course on promotional activity. And I think as we go through the survey, you're going to see why Amazon is such a big player in the space and how consumers react to that. And so all this has gotten me actually not to do the holiday song that you opened with, but Madonna's holiday, and go away somewhere and try to avoid it all. But, I guess this next 10 to 12 week extravaganza is upon us, and we should just embrace it and go with it.
And I'll bring in Jasmine too. Jasmine, right off the bat, if you know that my kids are going to be playing Christmas music from now until Christmas, do you think A, I'll be a Grinch by Christmas Day, or B, be Scrooge by Christmas Day? Which one?
Probably a little bit more the Grinch, but I'm just like your kid, so I can't fault them. I would love for Christmas to run 3 months long. I usually keep up my tree until Valentine's Day. Nobody knows that, but I'm totally down for the extended holidays.
All right. So let's get into the results that we have. And folks, we're going to read through these and talk through these, but you can find this on FDRA.org. We'll have it posted there. It's for the entire industry, not just our membership, but it's for everybody to help everybody in this time of need to think a little bit differently about your extended super holiday season. And if you can't find it on FDRA.org, then you can always email one of us at FDRA. Mainly the best email address is info@FDRA.org, and we'll drop that to you in an email. First off, is a filter question that we always have. And I should say thanks to Emerson College Polling Society for doing this survey for us. They're one of the most accurate pollsters in the country, not just for politics, but for consumer surveys. Not well known, but they do a great job. We've had Dr. Spencer Kimball come on before to share some insights from their political polling, and they always do a great job for us. First off the bat is, how likely are you to purchase new shoes for yourself or as a gift this holiday season? And we've got 41% very likely, 25% somewhat likely, and 34% not likely. And I will say, compare that to the 2019 survey, because we always like to compare years. The number of respondents that are not likely to buy shoes has increased by 3%. It's obviously we're in a different kind of era and a different economic period. But obviously, we've got 66% of people who are going to buy shoes over the holiday season, and then and 34% that not. Nothing super shocking in that, but Matt, just your thoughts on right off the bat on that.
I don't think I'm shocked, but I am a little surprised that when in comparison to 2019, you see not much difference, right? It's plus or minus 3%. It's pretty tight with, so, 2/3 of those who responded are probably going to buy a pair of shoes in some aspect. Now, how much they're going to spend, we'll find out in a little bit, but this does surprise me just based on all of the discussion around discretionary income, access, to capital for working Americans, and a lot of the respondents are working class Americans. So this does surprise me right out of the gate.
Yeah, and we should say that we also have breakouts by ages and regions where you can find it in the survey really quickly. Ages 18 to 39, there's 2 sections that I'm combining. That are the most likeliest purchasers, or 54%. So when you're marketing out there and you're looking for who's got money and they want to spend it, there you go. It's those ages. It's Jasmine's age group. We won't say her age. She's somewhere between 18 and 39. But I would say Jasmine's 100% likely to buy shoes this holiday season. Be my guess. Is that correct, Jasmine?
Yes, I would totally be correct.
The least likely was 65 and older. Consider themselves the least likeliest purchasers of shoe this holiday season. Next question. And this is very interesting. Do you plan on making your holiday shoe purchase online for home delivery? And we specifically asked these questions because of what's happening with retailers. So do you plan on making your holiday purchase online for home delivery straight to your home? Or do you plan on buying shoes from a local retailer, either in the store or online and picking up at curbside? So right off the bat, then this is indicative of the environment that we're in. And I think going through the pandemic and having no stores open, 71% of the people are going to purchase online and ship directly to their home, and only around 29-30% are willing to go in store, or they're going to pick it up curbside from a local retailer. That tells me, Matt, that the local retailer folks really have to have the right product and the right price and the right marketing material to get those folks to come by.
Yeah, I totally agree, Andy. And this is a question, we haven't asked this before, specifically this question before, if I'm not mistaken. So my suspicion is that if this was 19 or 18 or 2017, those numbers would actually be entirely flipped, right? And so we have this environment, even though stores are open for the most part across the country, we have an environment where people are getting more and more comfortable with buying online, and their plans are to purchase online this year.
Right.
And that is a drastic change. And the question comes down to, once we get to a year of normalcy, what will that number look like? Will it be 50-50? Will it stay elevated like this on the online side? Have we socialized that activity forever? And that will remain to be seen.
All right. Going down the line, and again, in the survey, there's more breakouts by geographic areas, and even age categories to help people take a look. It was interesting, just based on that, before I go to the next one, women are more likely to shop in stores than men are. So that's interesting that came out.
It is interesting.
If you were to go into, and we asked this specifically too, if you were to go into a store to look, try on, or purchase shoes, where are you most comfortable shopping this holiday season? So we said, some people obviously don't want to go anywhere, which is fine, no judgment, but some people want to get out and do something. And this actually shocked me. I mean, if I were going to do something personally, the most comfortable place is an open store where it's open, easy exit out, like a strip mall, an open air kind of, wherever that I can open the door, get into that store and get out without having to go through somewhere else. I was completely wrong. 36% of people said they're comfortable going into malls to go shopping. Thoughts on that?
The malls have been pretty busy. Like, I had to go into I don't know what I was in the mall for recently, but it was something really quick. And I was just surprised to see how packed it was. So I think I don't know what it is about the malls that make people feel comfortable, or because we just have like major malls like in this area. I'm not sure. I say that I personally feel comfortable going into the stores as long as it's like a Tuesday at like 10 a.m. I usually don't go on like Saturdays to like go like shopping at my leisure. It's more like in and out kind of shopping. So
right.
the only time I'm comfortable.
Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, this is really interesting, Andy, because I was in the mall for the first time a week ago. My daughter was getting her learner's permit, and the DMV was in the mall, and it was a Tuesday, I think maybe a Wednesday or Thursday, but it was at like 9 or 10 a.m. It was empty. Not surprising. So I actually felt totally comfortable walking down an empty mall, good old Fair Oaks Mall in Fairfax, Virginia. But this is surprising because I still feel more comfortable doing the strip mall, getting in and out, like you said, Andy. Right. So I don't, this one this is a head scratcher for me.
And also we break it out again by age. And I think obviously those under 50 are more comfortable shopping in malls, while the highest, people who would rather do strip malls or not go anywhere are people over 50. So I think that, based on how COVID is and how it impacts seniors, that makes sense. But beyond malls at 36%, you got department stores at 14%. For those that are still in existence, you got folks like Target, Walmart, Costco at 13%. Stores and strip malls at 70%, and then 21% just was like, you know what, not going anywhere near any of that. Even in a hypothetical situation you're asking me, I'm not leaving my house. Then we said, okay. You told us malls. What's your second most comfortable in-person shopping experience this holiday season? I'm going to dig down on you, consumers, and figure this out. So of those people who initially said some other answer, 70% then said malls was their second best. Department stores, 28%. So that got a
which may or may not be attached to a mall.
Maybe that's the thing too, is it could be an anchor store or something like that.
Right.
Target, Walmart, Costco, 23%, strip mall, 21%. And then last but not least, 10% people said, stop asking me this damn question. I told you I'm not leaving my house. So there's that. I don't think, in the same vein, it's just very interesting. And I think this depends on the state of time when we ask this. Like, obviously, if we get closer to the holiday season and there's a spike in COVID and people have to close down, attitudes will change. But for right now, people seem willing to go out and do some shopping if the price is right, the product's right.
Well, and I will say this, when we were in March and April, when things were shut down entirely, it was an unprecedented event, right? COVID was unprecedented. We were facing this in an unprecedented way. In some of these markets, if there's surges, it will no longer be unprecedented. The stores are more outfitted for social distancing with signage, plexiglass, and other things. They're cleaned in a little bit more different way than they were before. And that's why you see a lot of governors say, hey, look, we surged. We're not shutting down again. This is it. We're done. We're prepared. We'll just deal with it. And the question will come down to, Andy, to your point, if there's a surge, will people still just be like, you know what, I'm still going to the mall, which I prefer, and I'm going to shop there even if there is an uptick in cases. And that comes down to, has COVID been socialized with the masses? And some people will be comfortable, but I think a lot of people will just try to continue to live their lives and do what they can to get the shoes and within malls, I guess.
Yeah. And I think curbside's changed the game too, right? Like I think we all know if we're outside, the chances are less likely if we're indoors somewhere with a large group of people. So if you got outdoors and you could have, and I keep socializing these, and people think I'm crazy, but honestly, like if you're doing curbside, then just have a big tent out and have a drive-through and drop them in the car and let them drive around. They can shop from their car. You can set up a whole aisle of shoes in the parking lot and have a big tent there where they just drive through and you drive. All right, there you go. It's just like
cool. Just
it'd be super. Obviously you have to have a big parking lot and have a permit or whatever, but
it's not something you do in the city. But if you go down more like suburbs or a country area, you can definitely have the space for that. That'd be definitely a cool experience for people to have.
And then I would cross over. I give them a pumpkin right now and then I'd give them like a holly leaf or something, or like a mistletoe, with their shoe purchases they come on through, Just another idea, just a pontification. Take it for what it's worth.
I wish I had my bell. I don't have my bell anymore. With bing.
Oh yeah, silver bell.
I forgot about our bill.
And Blake, you don't need to send us a bell on Amazon. That's okay.
All right. So here's a big question because we're just coming out of Amazon Prime Day.
Yep.
And obviously Amazon for all, I mean, it's just a juggernaut when it comes to online. It reminds me of AOL, where the initial stages of the internet, everybody just thought AOL was the internet, right? Like, well, Amazon, like, okay. Like, so when we ask this question, where do you most often browse shoes or purchase shoes? So it's researching or purchasing. 44% said Amazon. I mean, it's almost at 50%.
Yeah, plurality, man. It's crazy.
I mean, it is super dominant. Other responses that came in, because we asked, we give options to people to make their decision. 20% said a retailer's website, like a Nordstrom, a Foot Locker, a Target. Almost identical. 19% said the shoe brand's own website, like a Nike or a Steve Madden, straight to the brand site. 10% said to a footwear specific online sales site, like a Zappos or shoes.com. And then 8% said somewhere else. So you can take the shoe brand's own website and you can take a retailer, combine it, and it's still less than Amazon's in this question.
Yeah, this is not a surprise. I hear this all the time from our members and our brands. Like, look, we have our D2C. We're trying to direct more traffic to D2C. It's a priority to limit that channel. But we sell more product for XYZ brand on Amazon, right. And it's just the necessary evil of the situation. It's the one-stop shop for just about everything on the planet for people. So this isn't a surprise. And it goes back to kind of how we opened up at the beginning about the importance of Amazon to the overall health of the industry. And when Amazon drops a Prime Day in the middle of October, which was supposed to be in July, it will alter holiday forever. It will impact shoe sales forever. I'll be really interested to see what our weekly sales survey says after this. And the question comes down to, Andy and Jasmine, in 21, will Prime Day rest in October again, because they are starting just to get things rolling, and it becomes the new sales period for holiday.
Yeah, my other thought was, will they do two now? Like, will they do more than one Prime Day, maybe in a different quarter? I thought about that recently as well.
Yeah, I think you're right, Jasmine. I think it's quite possible.
Yeah.
I think they can just call it spring cleaning, where they clean out all their warehouses and they just sell it at a huge discount during the Christmas period. I will say in the crosstabs too, what was really interesting was they broke it out by ethnicity for us. A majority of white shoppers, 50%, are using Amazon as their primary browsing and shopping source. Among Hispanic and Latinos, 28% are using a shoe brand's own website, so like a Nike or Steve Madden. 22% are using footwear-specific sites like a Zappos.com. Only 20% were using Amazon, which I found very interesting. Among Black shoppers, 34% are using Amazon. 30% are using a retailer's website, such as a Nordstrom or Foot Locker's, and 26% are using a shoe brand's website. So it's very interesting to see how the breakouts are different in different communities as to where they're shopping or looking or buying shoes versus somewhere else.
Yeah, there's a lot. You could probably have a whole podcast series on that economic activity. There's a lot of parity between, I think, white and Black Americans. On the Hispanic side, there's clearly an immigrant population that is needed in our society and is an important part of who we are as a society. But they obviously have probably less access to internet, less access to credit, or probably paying more in cash. Of course, these are generalities, but that shows you that a lesser percentage of them are going to be probably buying anything online, and more likely to be in store and purchasing in store.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what types of shoes are you most likely to purchase this holiday season? And in years past, we had it broken out by like 6 or 7 or 8 different categories. And with COVID, it just didn't make sense to keep breaking those out like we had. So we just asked 3 questions: casual shoes, athletic shoes, and fashion or dress shoes or boots. So what are you most likely to purchase this holiday season? It should come as no shock that 43% said casual shoes. So comfort obviously is king. It goes without saying, but you have to ask the question. The second was athletic at 36%. So you're looking at 79% of all shoes are going to be casual or athletic shoes. You're talking sneakers, slippers, casual walking shoes, etc. But 20% are still looking for something fashionable or something.
Is this something we asked last year, Andy? I can't remember.
It is something we asked last year.
Do you remember what the numbers were?
We did. And I'm trying to find it. Mm-hmm. Casual shoes. They got breakouts by region. I'll have to look in the crosstabs for that. I'm pretty sure the same question we asked last year was similar, but this is much higher.
Gotcha. I'm just trying to figure out because the knee-jerk kind of gut reactions like, oh my gosh, it's casual. These are trend lines everyone's talking about for COVID, and then but people might just buy those kinds of shoes anyway during the holiday. But I think you're right. It feels like 20% is pretty low for dress shoes and or boots, particularly entering into winter, which, Christmas specifically falls right the same week as winter starts. So you would think there'd be a lot of boot purchases, but 20% is pretty low.
Yeah. And then again, there's different breakouts by percents of shoppers that are, men are split between athletic shoes and casual shoes. Only 16% of men are looking to purchase dress shoes or boots. So be aware of that if you're out there trying to push that. Among women, 46% are purchasing casual shoes, and the remainder are split between athletic shoes and fashion dress shoes or boots at 24%. So the people, and this also should come as no surprise, but the people most likely to buy the fashion shoes are making more than $100,000 a year.
Hey.
And I think this kind of speaks to this divide that we see in our economy where people who are doing really well right now are willing to spend on really high quality stuff.
Yeah. Long lasting.
I'm actually looking at our 2019 numbers now. It looks like last year we had 17% fashion or winter boots.
Interesting. What up?
And 37% for comfort. It looks like we had it broken down a little.
Yeah, there were a lot more categories. So it could be like if you combine some of those categories, the fashion side would probably be a lot larger last year than it would this year.
Right. Yeah. Because we have fashion and dress, fashion or winter, and then so you would combine those, and that's 15% and 17%. So I think you're right.
Yeah. So that's already closer to 30% last year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There you go. See, folks, in real time, are reading this out and figuring it out for you.
Totally. And totally spinning and re-justifying our initial
question. What is the most important factor that influences your shoe purchases for yourself or as a gift this holiday season? So we always ask this. And to some extent, there's no real surprise here, but 41% said the price of shoes, right? I'm going to make a purchase. I'm going to look at a pair of shoes, and if it's the right price, I'm going to make the purchase. 32% said the need for new shoes. 16% said adding variety to your shoe style. So those shoe lovers. 10% said based on a very specific brand or type of shoe. So it might be like a new launch or like a collaboration. 2% said something else, but overwhelmingly people are looking for discounts.
If you're always, man, this is not a surprise at all whatsoever. Price is king. Price. Then the need and utility and the functionality of the shoe, which is what we always preach. You don't see anything. I guess we didn't add it in here, but you won't see anything about made in America or sustainability or the things that are important, but don't drive the factors as it relates to why people buy shoes for themselves or for others during the holiday season.
Yeah. So, there's no big shock to that one. The breakouts are interesting, though, so people need to read the report as to what's breaking out based on gender, ethnicity, and household income on those things. Here's another question that ties in with something that we've been talking about at the very top of the show. Retailers are doing away with the traditional holiday calendar this year and are offering holiday sales earlier than ever. Hallelujah. When do you expect to find the best holiday deals that will encourage you to make your purchase. So we took what we assumed, that price matters. Of course it does, as we just heard in the last one. But we said, when do you think you'll get the best deal? Meaning, when do you think you're actually going to make your purchase? Is it going to be super early this year? Is it going to be around, Black Friday, Cyber Monday? Or are you going to be a traditional late shopper and you're going to say, I'm going to wait and squeeze these retailers to the very end when they need to move their product and get the best deal possible? This is what we got. And I think this is super interesting. 17% thought the best deals will happen in December. So sometime between after Cyber Monday and up to Christmas Day or Hanukkah. 17%. 40% said the best deals will still happen from Black Friday through Cyber Monday. So they're still betting like right in the middle, sweet spot, right?
That traditional spot, yeah.
43% think the best deals are going to happen right now, between October through mid-November.
People are prime, man. They are prime to go. Pardon the pun. Sorry, I didn't even mean that, but they are prime to go.
So I really think it's very, because I would have assumed, well, I guess instantaneous gratification is the name of the game in America, but I would have assumed in October people would be like waiting a little bit, but I think they're seeing all this stuff pop up. They're seeing huge discounts, already seeing the holiday emails come across and promotions, and they're just starting, I guess, cognitively to say, hey, you know what? If it's this early, they must be desperate to sell me a product. So I'm going to start looking around.
I think stores have increased their, when you go into the grocery store and you start to see the Valentine's Day stuff, the Halloween stuff, all of that stuff has creeped up earlier and earlier. And I feel like now the stores just have an excuse to get it out as soon as possible. So I'm assuming some of the retailers are happy about that.
Yeah. I'm looking at 2019 survey, and they're telling us there was a shift in when shoppers are expecting to buy, because last year, majority, almost 60% plan to make their purchase, towards Christmas time, towards Hanukkah time, at the end of November and beyond. And now you're looking at, by the end of November, you're looking at 83% of people expect to make a shoe purchase by then. A majority, 52% of those planning on making spending purchases this year of more than $250 on shoes are looking for those deals between now and Black Friday. So the people who are really trying to put some money behind it, I think, are really trying to find some deals and are willing to spend some money right now as well. So, and then to that point, around the same thing, do you plan on spending more or less this holiday season on shoes compared to last year? And this is just economic environment. 37% plan to spend less money than they did last year. 33% plan on spending the same, and only 31% plan on spending more money. It's kind of flatlined in some senses, but 37% plan to spend less money than last year.
That's interesting. It's an interesting question. It's always like a gut check on how people are feeling. It's an emotional question, but it always bogs to me. It's like, okay, do these people sit down and no matter how they answer it and say, all right, last year I spent X amount and this year I'm going to spend X amount. I have no idea what I spent on shoes last holiday season. But I might feel like I'm going to spend less because of COVID or because my paycheck's been cut or I'm furloughed. So it's an emotional response to something that probably is not backed up one way or the other with data. It could turn out that way. They spend less. They could spend more. They may not even know. So that's always been an interesting question, because I think this is more one that taps into the psyche of who's being asked this question.
Yeah, I agree. And look, I mean, if we're honest, and we've been saying this on the show and everywhere else, we can talk about we have a national unemployment rate in America. And I think there's a difference between employment and like being able to pay your bills and get by and succeed in America. And there's somewhere right now around 20 to 25% of people not making a living wage in America. So you can talk about unemployment rates, but in reality, when we talk about disposable income right now, it's really tough. We haven't had a stimulus added in. We have people who have their mortgages, from where they were paused during the pandemic, are now having to make those payments again. Same with rent payments. So bills are coming due at the same time. There's less disposable income, and that's just the environment that we're in, sadly, to take a look at that. Last question was on this, the total amount of money you plan on spending on shoes this holiday season. 33% said less than $100. That's me. 3% said $100 to $250. 12% said between $250 to $500. And then 2% said more than $500.
That's Jasmine. Just kidding. I have no idea.
So
between the 250 range.
Yeah, I think the 100 to 250 is very reasonable, especially when people are looking to perhaps spend less money. They're looking for maybe one pair, maybe two pair. I think that's really the challenge for retailers is not just the first pair, like how we discount the first pair. It's like, how do I get you to get the second pair, right? Like, how do I maximize my revenue in this environment? Not just selling a pair and getting money, but how do I get that extra pair out of my store and my revenue a little bit higher?
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be the big challenge. It's not just the foot traffic. It's really going to be the cleverness of pairing a pair together, like two turtle doves. So that's the 2020 holiday footwear shoppers survey that FDRA just completed. Again, it's on FDRA.org, or you can email us at info@FDRA.org to get a copy of this. But I think it behooves the industry to take a look at this. And as we always say, like, obviously, we don't consider our data sacrosanct. We don't consider it to be the end all be all. We do believe that our data is an important part of your data and external data that you put together to make the best business decisions that you can. It's all about driving intelligence and wisdom. We wouldn't want you to make necessarily decisions based off of this, but it should inform those decisions so you can make them a little bit more accurately, right, Matt?
That's right. This is always just a great snapshot. We've been doing it for a number of years to be able to go back and compare. And we got it out in the marketplace earlier because we knew that the holiday schedule was changing and shifting. And this did not disappoint.
Ho, ho, ho. Hope you guys go out and buy shoes this holiday season. I'm going to wish you all a very extended holiday greeting. I'm probably going to do my Christmas cards with a jack-o'-lantern this year, probably. So, Jasmine, get ready for that to come in the mail to scare your grandmother.
Well, keep your kids on the one side of it because I want to see them.
Maybe. All right. Again, folks, thank you very much for listening today. This is the Shoe and Show. We cover the ins and outs of all things footwear. So obviously, holiday sales is the most critical time of the year for our retailers and our brands to make sure that they, finish the year strong and they have good earnings, hopefully good profitability as well. If we can ever help with anything out there, folks who read through this survey and have questions, drop us a line. Also, for our Shoe and Show, you can go back to shoeandshow.com and get the full catalog. There's a whole section on retail. We've got a lot of great CEOs coming on from Foot Locker, Birkenstock, etc., sharing ideas and tips on how they've been transforming in COVID and beyond. So we encourage you to listen to those episodes. And if you have a guest or an idea or a topic of what we should discuss on our show, drop us a line, shoeandshow.com. On the bottom left-hand corner, there's a little audio button. You can actually leave a voicemail for us that we can listen to. We appreciate the ideas and tips for anything that you guys want to hear. This is your show. This is the Footwear Industry Show, and we want to deliver on what you want to hear about to help you do your job a little bit better. With that, I want to thank Matt and Jasmine for going on this holiday ride with me. This is Coolio. So with that, Shoe and Show is out.
Shoe-In has been brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear. For information about FDRA, visit fdra.org.